ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone Arena action, and I'm actually really excited because today is Daylight Savings, and it's the fall version where we get an extra hour, and in my whole life, that extra hour has never done anything useful for me. Like, it's always just been totally wasted. But today, the extra hour actually means I can sneak in a game of Hearthstone before I have to work this afternoon, so I'm really excited. And furthermore, of these three classes, the one that I have played the least recently was actually the Priest, which is like the best one of these. So I'll be happy to pick Anduin here and start off the arena. So the Priest is my most, I would say, consistent class. In 10 runs, I've never had a Priest run go below 6. So we'll see if I can keep that streak going. I mean, not to spoil it entirely, but my Shaman run yesterday, I'd previously never had a run go below 7, and then yesterday happened. Alright, so clearly the Murloc War Leader is not the choice here. We're going either for Mind Games or Faceless Manipulator. So Mind Games can be randomly really awesome, or it can randomly give you total trash. Faceless Manipulator is a little bit more expensive, but it's also a little bit more predictable and consistent. So, I don't know, I think this is just a matter of style. I mean, I think if you're like more of a gambler, more of a YOLO personality, you want to take the Mind Games here. But the problem I've noticed is a lot of people, you know, not a lot, but a decent number of people whenever arena play with a lot of chumpy creatures. So like when you play Mind Games and get like a Blood Fury Raptor, that's pretty much only needs to happen to you once to get kind of turned off the card. So we'll grab the Faceless Manipulator here for the extra consistency. Okay, so Priests don't have weapons. This is the generic 2-1 for 1. And the Archmage is good, but I'd rather reserve my 6-drops for the Temple Enforcers that Priests have, because I think they're incredibly good, and I don't want to fill up my curve with expensive stuff, especially when my first pick was Faceless Manipulator. I'm going to grab this guy. I know a lot of people, especially strong players, really disrespect these cheap taunts, but man, is it good sometimes. Like, it stops your opponent's one giant creature from attacking one of your valuable creatures, and so they have to spend their attack going after this piece of crap. So, we'll grab it there. I think that was the best case scenario. Very easy pick here, definitely the Northshire Cleric. I mean, this thing is just insane. So it's a 1-3 for 1, which is a pretty resilient body for 1 mana. It's likely to survive, and you can get some cards off of it. It's just great. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Divine Spirit. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I see a lot of priests using it, and the problem with Divine Spirit is that, you know, you're putting 2 eggs in one basket there, the creature plus the card, so once your creature is, you know, killed, you just lost 2 cards. And I know it's tempting to go for the Divine Spirit Inner Fire combo. I think Inner Fire by itself is actually an okay card, giving a creature, you know, +2, +3, sometimes +4, +5 if it's like the Mogashan Warden or the Gurubashi Berserker damage, and that's totally fine. Inner Fire is also great with Temple Enforcers, but basically, I don't want to play with a bad card just to try to pull off a combo. I'm happy to play with good cards and try to pull off a combo, but not with bad ones. So we're going to take the Stormwind Knight here. It's very durable at 4 mana. 5 health is the magic number of health, and then it charges and can often kill off a creature, so we're going to go ahead and grab that there. Not my favorite card, but it's better than I think the Divine Health. Okay, so here, very, very easy call. The Temple Enforcer is a 6-6 for 6. Don't be fooled by the battle cry thinking, oh, it's giving something health. It's like a defensive creature. No, it's a 6-6 for 6. It's a giant. We're going to be happy to grab that there. Okay, so here, all these are very reasonable cards. I think the 0 mana Silence is a bit underrated. I think that can be absolutely clutch in some cases. But I'm going to grab the Acolyte of Pain. I think it's nice to have more card draw here, especially because priests do tend to have slower games and need those extra cards. Ooh, tough call here. So the Power Word Shield is nice. More card draw, buffing things up is also good. The Boulder Fist Ogre, though, is premier 6 mana territory. So the risk is if I see lots more expensive creatures, I'm going to be sad I took the Boulder Fist Ogre. But if I take the Power Word Shield and never see another Boulder Fist Ogre, I'm going to be sad that I never saw another Boulder Fist Ogre. So I'm going to grab the Ogre here. Just want to make sure I have that late game. I know I said I was reserving spots for the Temple Enforcers, but the Boulder Fist Ogre is also really spectacular. So we're going to go ahead and grab him here and hedge our bets in case I never see those again. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward call here. While these are all reasonable cards, Mind Vision's fun. Holy Smite for 1 mana early removal kills a lot of creatures is definitely the winner there. Here I am definitely tempted by the Amani Berserker, whom I like to call the best 2-drop in the game, but I'm going to grab another Holy Smite. I think the removal is more important than having a good 2-drop. Okay, the Abomination is nifty, but I'm actually going to take the Violet Teacher here. I've got 2 Holy Smites, which feed it quite nicely, and if I see any more Power Word Shields, those are really, really great with it. In fact, it almost makes me regret taking a Boulder Fist Ogre over the Power Word Shield, but we're going to grab the Violet Teacher there. It's a big body. 3-5 for 4 is really nice, and then you get some cards. Okay, so here I don't really want the Elven Archer. It's either Thought Steal or Mind Vision. So Mind Vision's cheaper, but obviously you get a lot less. Thought Steal is some really nice card draw, and potentially you can get really good stuff out of your opponent's deck. We're gonna go for the Mind Vision here. It's cheaper and it's less onerous to play that out. All right, well here it's very straightforward. Shadow Word Pain. You pretty much want to take every single one of these that you can. That is extremely good removal. Yuck, man. Do I take an Inner Fire here? Well, it is actually good with the Stormwind Knight. It's actually kind of nifty with the Acolyte of Pain as well, turning it into a 3/3 card drawer, and the Violet Teacher is not bad either. But we'll take another one of these charging guys. Not my favorite 4-drop, to be honest, but I just don't like this combo card very much unless I have some good reasons to grab it. Wow, alright, well, one thing I've noticed is that the quality of your draft really depends a lot on the quality of the rares you get. And I'm going to be honest, in this draft, we've seen some pretty ace rares. So the Pine-Sized Summoner is definitely a nice early drop, and it can help, sneak into play a Stormwind Knight or a Violet Teacher. The Argent Commander, though, pretty much every time that thing drops, your opponent goes, no! So it's also a very strong card. Well, here we're a little bit lacking for early plays. We've only got the Northshire Cleric and the Frostwolf Grunt so far, so let's go ahead and grab the Pine-Sized Summoner. If we do play this on turn 2, and if it is not killed, then being able to play a Violet Teacher or a Stormwind Knight earlier is very nice. Although I may regret definitely not having that Argent Commander. We'll see. Okay, so here we can take a Light Spawn, which goes great with the Temple Enforcer. It's a 5/5 for 4, so it's quite efficient, but we're a little bit lacking for 3-drops. The healing is nice from the Earthen Ring Farseer, definitely, but let's grab a Harvest Golem. This is a premier 3-drop. It holds up nicely against warriors, axes, and stuff like that, so it's just a pain for your opponent to deal with. Let's make sure we have it. Yeah, well, healing is nifty, but let's go ahead and grab the Raid Leader here. My deck's not in the best position to take advantage of him. I'd rather have a Direwolf Alpha, because the Direwolf is basically the same thing, but costs only 2 mana. But of these picks, this one's the best one. I really wish there was like a Power Word Shield there. I would have definitely grabbed that. Shadow Word Death, definitely going to grab that, although the other creatures were nice. And here we have our Trash Epic. I'm going to take the Southsea Captain, just because it is least likely to buff my opponent's creatures. But this is basically a 3/3 for 3. The Doomsayer is way too unreliable. I'm not a big fan of that card. Okay, well, here, Mad Bomber. Someone suggested I take every Mad Bomber I see. I'm not really quite there yet. Let's go ahead and grab the Frostwolf Warlord, although he might not be that huge. The Lightwell is a nifty card, but Defender of Argus, I think, for taunt and for buffing. I really like the buffing. I think a lot of people look at the Defender of Argus and think, oh, it provides taunt, but really, to me, it's the buffing that's important. Sometimes the extra health and or the extra damage is all that you need. And as I mentioned previously, if you take it and you can only buff one creature with it, it's just an overpriced Shattered Sun Cleric, and the Shattered Sun Cleric is so good that I will happily pay an extra mana even for that. So I can take another Power Word, I can have another chance to take Power Word Shield, but I am going to take the Amani Berserker here. It's the best 2-drop in the game. We really only have the Pine-Sized Summoner and the Grunt here for early plays. Let's make sure we can play more than 2 creatures as we get down to our final third of the draft. Argent Squire is not to be underestimated, but I'll take a second Shadow Word Death. It's important to have that removal for your big stuff. Opponent's big stuff. Wow, alright, we're getting a quality Priest rare. All these are good. You really can't go wrong with any of them. The Massive Spell can absolutely wreck your opponent's day. Shadow Madness will often be a 2-for-1. You can steal a creature and run it in. Although, having played with it in several drafts, I have to say, it's not quite as reliable as you'd think. There are definitely times where it just whiffs horribly, so this is a bit more consistent. But I'm going to grab it here. I think the potential is so great there that it's tough to pass up. Okay, we actually ended up in this draft being a little bit light on the heavy-hitting cards. Only 4 cards here are 5 mana or more. So I'm going to take the Fen Creeper. This has got a lot of health, and it hits decently hard, so I'll be happy to add that to my repertoire here. Ugh, man, I'm not a fan of this pick. So we only have the Holy Smites here for the Archmage. So it's just a very sturdy dude is pretty much all it is. I'm not a fan of the Booty Bay Bodyguard. The health is way too low for it being a taunt. And this is just not my favorite Swarm creature. Granted, we do have a Frostwolf Warlord here. So I guess this would be kind of nice. Of the mediocre cards here, let's take the cheapest one that has a little bit of synergy with our deck. Oh my god, this is one of the toughest calls. So Mind Control obviously is a Priest classic. It lets you get out of a lot of difficult scenarios. But you know what? Call me crazy, folks. I'm going to take Dark Iron Dwarf. This guy is just so good. The buffing is so important. And it's, the Mind Control, the game might be over by the time we get to turn 8. Or if my opponent's really far ahead, Mind Control is not going to pull me back. So yes, Mind Control is amazing. Yes, there will be times late in the game where I top deck a Dark Iron Dwarf and wish to God it were a Mind Control. But I really feel like this is going to help me more in more games than the Mind Control is. Alright, very happy to grab another Temple Enforcer here. That is quite nice. Third Holy Smite I think is better than this generic 3/2. And we'll take another Mind Vision. So the Inner Fire, let's take a look. Let's take a quick inventory here for Inner Fire. So it works well with Temple Enforcer. It's also a boon to the Fen Creeper, the Violet Teacher, the Stormwind Knight. Actually, a lot of guys, I guess. Then we kind of Acolyte of Pain, sort of. It's +2 attack, which isn't that impressive. Northstar Cleric, actually. I didn't end up getting any Power Word Shields. I felt like I had something more important to take each time one of those came around. So you know what? Let's just take a Mind Vision. It's a 1-mana cycle. Instead of drawing the top card of your deck, you get a card from your opponent's hand, but I feel like that's better than the alternative. Gadsden Auctioneer. Well, now with all these Holy Smites and Mind Visions, I have 5 1-mana spells in this deck, plus Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death aren't too expensive. Yeah. A little bit... Actually, we don't have any expensive spells at all. We have Shadow Madness in here somewhere. Yeah, right there. But the Gadsden Auctioneer is just so great. Plus, these are pretty unremarkable cards. We'll go ahead and grab the Auctioneer. Okay, well, so this draft, I would say that its main weakness is we didn't really get a lot of quality 3 or 4 mana creatures, which I found to be very important to success in the arena. We also never did get any Power Word Shields, but this deck does have a really good endgame with those Temple Enforcers and the Boulder Fist Ogre. Plus, we did have some good cards like the Dark Iron Dwarf and a fair amount of removal. So maybe some of it will come down to how good our Mind Visions are at stealing good cards from our opponents. Hades the Mage. Well, mages do have a lot of good cards to steal. Tragically, I'm first, which sucks because it means that if I Mind Vision, there's a risk of taking the coin. This is a bit early, and this is a bit early, so we're going to go ahead and ship him back to see if we can get some of our 2-drops here. Hey, look at that, Pine-Sized Summoner. Alright, well, right now I don't have anything to summon out. In another life, this would have been an Argent Commander, so I guess, all things considered, I'm glad it's the Pine-Sized Summoner. Let's Mind Vision, hope we don't get the coin. We get a Kirin Mage. Well, that is actually, folks, not as bad as it looks. Even though I don't have any secrets, it means that this is a 4-3 for 3, and that is great. 4-3 for 3 is solid stuff. My opponent might be a newer player. You generally don't want to cast Arcane Missiles just to deal 3 damage to your opponent's face. Because look what happens now. I play the Pine-Sized Summoner. Arcane Missiles would have a 50-50 chance at killing this thing, and wouldn't you like to have a 50-50 chance at killing your opponent's Pine-Sized Summoner? I know I would. So now my opponent is, lose-lose. Either she lets me live, which is what she did, or you have to spend another Premier Removal spell to put this out here. Okay, well, it turns out then that I can't really get great use out of this, but I do actually have a shocking number of options. One option is to play the Kirin Mage. Then I can Mind Vision as well. Another option actually is to play the Frostwolf Grunt and heal my Pine-Sized Summoner because of the discount. I'm actually going to do this, and the reason for that is my opponent kind of revealed to me with her last play that she does not have a Frostbolt. If mages don't have Frostbolts, there's really nothing at 3 mana they'll be able to use to kill this thing. So my opponent seems not to have the removal for this, which is why I figure I'll heal it up with my Priest, because Priests are awesome. And then next turn, at 4 mana, we'll be able to both heal this and play a mage. Well, my opponent gets lucky and has a secret to go with their Kirin Mage. Luckily, I am lucky as well. I can actually play a Dark Iron Dwarf, buff the Grunt, and then kill off this mage. That seems like a pretty good plan to me. Now, there's a chance this is Mirror Entity and my opponent will get a Dark Iron Dwarf, but I'll take that risk. I think it's important to do that. Is it Mirror Entity? It isn't. Fantastic. Alright, well, out of respect for Vaporize, I'm not going to run my Pine-Sized Summoner in, because the mana is still actually quite useful to me. Next turn, if this is still alive, I'll be able to play both of these creatures, or the Temple Enforcer, so I really don't want to risk this. Let's go ahead and Mind Vision then. And we get Tinkmaster Overspark. Wow, okay. Well, this is a legendary. He is sort of like a polymorph that's cheaper and comes with a 2/2 body. The only risk is, of course, that the polymorph can backfire horribly and turn your opponent's creature into a 5/5. Well, my opponent got lucky, so my opponent just played a polymorph and made my thing into a squirrel, which is a bit depressing. Interesting choice. My opponent chose to go for the bigger body rather than respecting the fact that I have a Pine-Sized Summoner. And I do believe my opponent's going to pay for this, unless that coin gives her something really good. Arcane Explosion. It's going to kill off the squirrel. This is still around, though. So, alright, we're going to play a turn early Temple Enforcer? Well, now I have a Holy Smite, so let's think about this. What I could do instead is I could actually play the Kirin Mage and then Holy Smite that thing, and then still have mana left over to heal the Pine-Sized Summoner. But I think it's actually important to put the biggest thing down that I can. So this also saves my Pine-Sized Summoner. I'm still at a very clutch 2 health, so the hero ability won't finish me off, and I have a 6/6 on the board on turn 5, so that's pretty good. So basically what I'm going to do now is run my Pine-Sized Summoner in to check for Vaporize. I obviously don't want this getting vaporized. And then we'll be able to play some stuff. So my opponent's going to kill off the Pine-Sized Summoner. This secret is doing quite good work for my opponent because it's preventing me from attacking her directly. So that's okay by me, though. Let's just go ahead and play out our creatures. I'm going to do this. Wait a minute. I really want to play Holy Smite on this thing, and I can't play these two guys and Holy Smite. Where's my Pine-Sized Summoner when I need it? Okay. Let's, man. I really want to play this and a creature, but I can't, because no Pine-Sized Summoner! This is actually not that great at the moment. We'll save this if my opponent has something, like, so terrifying that even a 5/5 Devilsaur will be good by comparison. Alright, let's just go ahead and play the Harvest Golem here. The reason for this is basically that it can run and check for Vaporize, and I'm not really bothered by it. And we'll actually save our Holy Smite. The reason is if I'm not attacking my opponent anyway, then I might as well just use my mana to heal up my guy, which is totally fine, and then we're going to pass the turn. So, Flame Strike is 1 turn away. What that means is that I really want to make sure I can heal this up to be above 4 health so it does not die to a Flame Strike. Looks like my opponent's having a pretty slow turn. She spent half her mana drawing cards, which honestly I'm not that bothered by. And she's going to Cone of Cold. I see. Well, that's very smart. So she's stopping me from being able to attack. One thing I'm definitely going to want to do here is... I'm definitely going to want to heal this up. Now, I could play Defender of Argus. The problem is he and the Golem and the, will die to the Flame Strike. So the question is, do I kind of want to overextend? And the answer is, well, yeah, because what's the alternative? I mean, I can actually play like this thing, but then it'll die to Flame Strike. I guess I'd rather spend more mana and lose a, not quite as of a hard-hitting creature. Okay, so here we go. So now I'm actually doing pretty good against Flame Strike. If my opponent does Flame Strike, it'll be her whole turn. The Harvest Golem pulling its weight here. It'll pop back. It'll be able to check for a Vaporize, and then we'll be good. Blizzard! Oh my god! This is so annoying. So now... this is so frustrating. I still can't attack. Arcane Missiles might do some good things. I really hope it hits the Golem, actually. Yes, that was actually really good. So what happens now is the Golem pops back. I can check for Vaporize, finally. And I can heal this guy back up to 5 so he survives a Flame Strike. So I want to make sure I don't forget to do that. What is it? Is it Ice? It's Ice Bear. So it was Ice Bear this whole time, so I really could have dealt a lot more damage. But again, it was worth it to be safe. Alright, I think the move here is to play Violet Teacher. So this survives a Flame Strike. For mages, a key amount of mana is 9. 9 is the point where you can Flame Strike and then have enough mana left over to hero ability to finish off a 5-power creature. So my opponent doesn't have that. She also has a Sea Captain. That's great. Well, this is the time when Shadow Madness... Yeah, this is the time when Shadow Madness is as good as it gets. So for 4 mana, I get to kill 2 creatures of my opponent. I am going to make sure on this turn that I heal up my Temple Enforcer so that after Flame Strike, she can kill off the Violet Teacher, but not the Enforcer. So I'm preserving my harder hitting guy, and I'm not going to actually play either of these creatures. I have total board domination. I have like 8 cards to my opponent's 3, so there is absolutely no reason to overextend, and I might as well just keep this guy alive and keep on swinging for 6 damage a turn. So even silenced, this Temple Enforcer is quite mighty. My opponent plays a pretty unremarkable card here, and then quite cutely puts it back. That's a well played. Puts it back into her hand, so she'll be able to reuse that battle cry to get some extra health. I am, in general, okay with this. So it'd be nice to be able to kill this thing. It's a bit tricky, though. The Violet Teacher could run into it, but then I'd need to spend the Harvest Golem as well. Granted, the Harvest Golem is on borrowed time. It's going to die to hero ability anytime now. So yeah, we'll actually do this. We're going to go ahead and do this. And this. We're going to play this guy. And actually, I think we'll go ahead and play this other guy as well. Because they do both survive Flame Strike. So I'm wasting the surprise here, but I'm putting some pressure on my opponent. We've got some mana left over. Let's heal up. And this game is looking like it's going to go to a win. I mean, my opponent will need to have something really amazing here to hang on. And I've got some pretty big card advantage, life advantage, board advantage. Fen Creeper. Alright, well, that might have to get Tink Master over... I don't know what's the past tense. Tink Master over Sparked? Tink Mastered? Let's think. Can I actually win this game? I've got, as I play this stops being taunty. I've got 6, 7, 9, 11. 13 damage, not quite. I could play this guy. This will deal 2 damage and draw a card, although nothing really at the moment dies to 2 damage. Yeah, this is the time, I think, for the Tink Master. Alright, I also get lucky and flip a squirrel. That's great. This guy dies to a Flame Strike, but my opponent I don't think really has Flame Strike. Let's actually do this. I'm gonna... Oh, okie dokie. I was gonna Holy Smite the squirrel to kill the squirrel and draw a card. But anyway, my opponent concedes. Yay! So if you are new to the channel, I'll just give a quick rundown here. What I will typically do is play 2 games in the first video, so you can see the draft and just kind of get a sense of how the deck that I drafted plays out. And then in the second video, if you're enjoying how the arena is running and want to see how it ends, is where I'll just put all the remainder of the game, so you can sit down, grab a bag of popcorn, hold on to your sweetie, and watch the rest of the arena run. Alright, here we are up against Big Daddy K. That's a good name. And let's take a look. What we want to do here is pass back the Enforcer and the Faceless Manipulator. They are good, but they're expensive. And the question is, do I keep the Violet Teacher? The answer is nope. I think I have enough early plays that I'm bound to find something good with 3 mulligans. And the answer is I didn't. Well, the Dragonlink mechanic's alright. I'd probably be rather playing the Violet Teacher, given that I do these other spells, but should be okay. Do I coin out a Pint-Sized Summoner? Nope. If I coined this out on turn 2, I really wouldn't be able to play anything anyway. So there's no reason to spend the coin just to rush that out there, I don't think. Fiery, especially in light of this Fiery War Axe. Ugh. So what we're going to be doing is definitely not playing the Pint-Sized Summoner here, even though it means wasting my turns. I'm just going to hang on tight. I've got my own removal here. And next turn I can actually coin out the Dragonlink mechanic, which is very resistant to this War Axe. My opponent can use it to kill the Dragonlink, but then the Dragonlink mechanic survives. Okay, well this is actually alright, because I do have Shadow Word Death, so once this thing gets out of hand, I'm going to just be able to kill it off. And there's no point in playing this Captain, it will just die to the axe. I'm going to see if I can tempt my opponent into using the axe against the little Dragonlink here. If my opponent chooses to get greedy and uses the Frothing Berserker to kill the Dragonlink, it'll go down to 2 health, and I'll be able to use Holy Smite to pick it off. So I would be very happy to see that. Crazed Alchemist, that deserves a well played. This Crazed Alchemist, you're never that excited to draft it, but it seems like more often than not you find a good use for it. Like right there, it was pretty solid. Alright, so my opponent still has 1 charge on this Fiery War Axe, but the good news is that now, I think I could do Shadow Word Death on this, but I think this is the time for Shadow Madness. 4 mana, kill both your opponent's creatures, seems good to me. Even though that is my whole turn, we're so polite with each other. So my opponent has 5 cards and an axe. I just have 6 cards. I'd say he's ahead because everything I have dies to the axe. Now I wish I had kept the Violet Teacher, actually. Although, I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to have the Violet Teacher right now so I could play something down. Northshire Cleric is not the hero that Gotham needs. This is the wrong Shadow Word. I really need Shadow Word Pain. This thing's going to start cranking out the spells very soon here. What I'm going to do is... Oh my god, this is terrible. I mean, this guy just dies to the Fiery War Axe. So does this. So does this. This also dies to the Violet Teacher. I'm just in trouble here. I have absolutely the wrong hand for the situation. So maybe I should have kept the Violet Teacher around, because basically if I had, I could play her, and I wouldn't have this Northshire Cleric. But that would definitely be better than what I'm facing right here. Alright, well, we're going to have to throw something under the bus. So let's play Pint-Sized Summoner, and let's play this generic 3/3 for 3, and we'll call it a day. I would say my opponent has definitely won the opening and is majorly ahead on the back of this frickin' Fiery War Axe. Oh my god. Turn 2 Fiery War Axe. Every warrior gets him against me. Oh my god. Well, the issue I have now is I just can't keep any of my creatures alive. This dies to the weapon, and then these guys are pretty hard hitters. Yeah, my opponent's just going to do this. Holy Smite does not quite deal enough damage. Well, I don't have any good cards. Let's see if my opponent does. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. He plays a Wrathy Weaponsmith, Fiery War Axe, Violet Teacher. What do I get? Bloodfen Raptor. Well, let's throw that thing down. And my creatures aren't doing me any good in my hand. If I'm going to lose this game, I'm going to lose it anyway. Holding on to my creatures and playing nothing isn't going to save me. So my opponent can just absolutely wreck my board. This is like a demolition derby, and I'm on the wrong side of it. Jesus. This is going from bad to worse here. Yeah, this is just a stone cold grade A disaster. The Northshire Cleric would have been great on turn 1. it would have at least eaten a charge of the Fiery War Axe. Now it's just not good. So my opponent has a lot of power here. Man, we're in trouble here. Death doesn't even kill anything. This guy's good. Alright, this guy's good. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's just kill that thing. I can play Northstar Cleric, heal him, draw a card. Or I can Holy Smite and kill off one of his creatures. Well, I want to heal him anyway, so that he doesn't die to this weapon. I guess I might as well draw a card in the process. Money Berserker is, unfortunately, still not the hero that Gotham needs. This is at 4 power, so I can't kill it with Shadow Word Death. This is definitely trouble with a capital T. Commanding Shout. So he gets a card and a 1/1. You know what I never saw in this draft? I never saw any Holy Novas. That was a cute play. Never saw any Holy Novas here. So that's sad. This Holy Nova would be really great right here. It would be really great. It would actually keep me in the game. But alas, I did not see them. So we're in a bit of a pickle here, folks. This might be an early loss here in the draft. I think my deck is okay against my opponent's deck. I just never drew good cards, except for that Violet Teacher in the beginning. Faces Manipulator, it is hilarious how unhelpful this thing is. I could copy this thing, I suppose, and when I Holy Smite, I will draw some cards. Or get some 1/1s. Sure, we'll do that. So we're gonna Holy Smite, that thing, get a 1/1. Man, let's Holy Smite this thing. And we're gonna pass the turn. So that could have been a Mind Games instead. I guess I'm glad I had the Faceless Manipulator. It's a bit more consistent. Oh no, that's not good. That is the opposite of good. Oh man, this game. Oh boy, some games just don't go your way. My opponent's going to trade off the Violet Teachers, and well, he should. I still don't have it. I mean, I never saw a single Holy Nova. Yep, Holy Nova would be an out, I think. It would at least get me close to catching up. But what it would do is it would clear out a lot of this stuff and leave with just my opponent with just 2 creatures. So I'd still like be in very bad shape, but I would have a chance of winning. And now that's GG. All right, well, that was the game, and that's going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed it, do please like and or subscribe. I'll appreciate that very, very much. And if you are enjoying how the arena's going and want to see if Papa Boris can pull it back after that disaster, then stay tuned, because the remaining games are going to be posted soon. I'll see you then.